Hit me with a late night text, she keeps sending XO. Need me that presto. Treat it like SO. How the hell am I ever gonna let go? I think I'm falling. She messing with my resto, but she keeps sending XOXO. She come alive, never lie. What a time to be alive. Pulling up at 12 a.m. when she call. Treat it like a race when she better with the floor. It's on site, cutting lights. Blue eyes in the ties. Caught up in a freeze, I can never tell her no. They cannot believe, doing shit they never know. Too much, I'm saying no more. 2 seconds before I'm gone. Done taking all the wrong roads. All feelings gone, but then she going. Hit me with a late night text, so she keeps sending XO. Need me that presto. Treat it like SO. How the hell am I ever gonna let go? I think I'm falling. She messing with my resto, but she keeps sending XOXO.
She's always trying to wrestle. Always trying to mess with my mental. Maybe lost the battle, but I'll win the war. Try to get away, but I just want you more. Into every text, take me for a run around. I wonder what is next. I can't believe it that I found in the end. Your heart's a gun, and baby, you gon' sin again and again till I'm seeing red. Broken love, never gonna be sober again. Made me feel the best, but still the worst though. I know she doesn't want any other person in the end. I can tell by all the XOXOs.
Hit me with a late night text, so she keeps sending XO. Need me that presto. Treat it like SO. How the hell am I ever gonna let go? I think I'm falling. She messing with my resto.
The Morning Fix live radio show will begin shortly. For your best news coverage and commentary, tune in daily at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on The Morning Fix. The Morning Fix live radio show will begin shortly. Happy hump day, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Fix live radio show. It is 10:05 Eastern Standard Time, October 26th. We're getting closer and closer to Halloween, which means we're getting closer and closer to Thanksgiving. So we're all going to be stuffing our stomachs very soon, getting big. I need to lose weight. So while everyone's stuffing their face, I'm probably going to be trying to fight to lose weight. And then just around the corner after that, we got Christmas. I mean, hate to speed up your life and age you up that much, much more here on the Morning Fix. It is 65 and humid, foggy, misty, disgusting, cloudy here in New York City. Perfect autumn day, perhaps, here in New York City. And we have Keisha, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Are you
Yeah.
awake? Are you ready to rumble and tussle with me this morning or what?
Yes, I'm awake.
Yeah. So we had a great show last night. It was fun. Feels like I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I don't. I can't even remember the last time we spoke.
It's been a while. It's been that
Yeah.
long. And you know what? We did very good.
Yeah.
We did very good last night because we had a bunch of people in here who's unable to make the morning show because of the time difference. Not everyone's willing to make the sacrifice like you.
It's okay. I respect it. I
Yeah.
understand it.
Their loss. But yes, if you did enjoy and did catch the primetime fix, we will be having that. Sometimes one or the other, or perhaps we'll have both. Now, it may be one show, both shows would be me because I'm crazy like that, but may have Keisha in the morning or Keisha in the evening or somebody else in the evening. But I guess you're not going to give up your morning seat, right?
Actually, I'm not giving up any seat, but that's
Oh,
cool.
you're not gonna give it. So you're willing to do the morning and the evening.
First of all, I believe the
Just want to
intro
see.
outro said co-host.
Well, the out yes, in the primetime fixture said co-host, and I wanted to leave the
So if I
door
have to
open
give
for
up, I guess a seat
regular
would be my. I
appearances
guess I would
on
give up my special appearance seat in the morning.
in the morning. Right, right. You could do that. Somebody else can keep it warm from time to time. It's all right.
Sure.
All right. Let's say good morning. Good morning, Christina. How are we?
Good
Happy
morning.
hump day. Good morning,
Morning.
Heather.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
Prince, Bumblebee Tuna. Good
Good
morning, Mandy. Mandy. We have to give her those video clips. We keep keeping her
Oh,
waiting.
yeah.
No shade, no
I got
shade,
you.
but
I got you. I got you. I just
we
need
have
to edit.
you need to edit. That's what she does. She
No,
edits.
no, no, no. No. First, I have to edit out the front part of it. Just
Mm,
relax. I got you.
mm. Oh, you don't want certain things to be showing. All right, I got you. So we got Hellfire. Good morning. We have
Good morning.
Pamela. Pamela, good morning. We have
Good
Katie.
morning. Good morning.
Howdy, everyone, and welcome
Good
to
morning.
the Morning Fix Live
Morning.
radio show, the
Good
best radio
morning
show,
to
in my
you.
opinion. Is this the best radio show for you?
It's the only.
It's the only.
Good
That
morning.
doesn't tell me that we're the best. That means we need to compete against others, right? So that makes
No,
us
they need to compete against us. Good
uh,
morning.
good morning.
Good
Oh, we
morning.
have Kathy in the building. Kathy was really heartbroken at the fact that we weren't available yesterday. Also, Michael threw a nice shout out yesterday. Says, "Hey, I had to listen to the radio." The way he said it, though, he said, "You guys weren't on yesterday, so I had to listen to
I know.
the fact that we're the radio, the national syndicate radio stations are the alternative. Think about that.
Yeah, someone else said they had to listen to a movie. I can't remember who it was.
So we are becoming a fixture for people. How do you feel about that?
That's nice.
That took a while for the response. Jesus, kept me
I
on
don't
the
know
edge
how
of
I
my seat there, for goodness
I don't know how I
sakes.
feel about that. I
Katie,
don't like feeling that pressure.
we have Katie here also saying it was for me. She had to listen to something else. Y'all messed up my day yesterday. See, we're becoming a permanent fixture.
I appreciate you
So
guys. That's awesome.
I even got messages that says, "Hey, I missed you guys. Usually, I play you guys while I'm at work. Listen to you guys all the time. Blah blah blah." And it's awesome because we don't always see you guys in the chat, but we do see the numbers of the viewers. So it's great to see that people are active and watching us. How do you feel
Yes, we
about being
appreciate you
watched,
guys.
Keisha? How do you feel about being watched?
You know how I feel about being watched.
The way you're saying things, just you know. I'm working but listening. That's Christina. Yes. I hate it when y'all aren't in my morning. Yep. So
Good
we have
morning.
Lynn. Lynn is here. Good morning. Is this Lynn
There's
from
someone
TikTok?
below Lynn. There's someone below Lynn too. That just came in and said good morning. I just can't
Really?
see.
No, there's just Lynn here. That's all I see.
No. Is it like what is it, Nanny?
Oh, Nanny is on top of Lynn. Okay,
No, on
top
mine she's
below.
below Lynn.
Really? Okay, Nanny Shanny. Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning.
I hope everyone's having a great start to the day, along with your cup of coffee. And if you haven't already, I believe it's still up there. Is it still up on AJ's rant room? Because if it is, you can get your morning fix mug. We're gonna be. I want to make more mugs. I'm trying to work it out with Mandy behind the scenes. We're gonna make mugs. We're gonna make those little tall things that you
Tumblers.
have. What
Tumblers.
are they're called
Tumblers.
tumblers.
Yes.
Yeah, I know some of the ladies like the tumblers. Like you're not really gonna catch a lot of men walking around. They may walk around with a Yeti, but you're not gonna catch them walking around with a tumbler.
What's the difference?
A Yeti is more manly.
I don't understand. It's the same thing.
Despite the fact that when I was in Texas, everyone had a Yeti. It didn't matter, male, female, it didn't matter.
Okay, but it's the same thing, so I'm confused.
Tumblers it's encased in a plastic glass look-alike thing. Yeti is like hardcore metal, man's man kind of cup, you know?
So like the hydro flask is what you're saying.
Right, the Hydro Flask. Now you get it. But that's a brand. Hydro Flask is a brand, Yeti is a brand.
Yeah. I have hydro
It's
flask.
not they're not called Hydro Flask, are they?
The cup is, I mean, that's who makes it, Hydro Flask.
Hydro Flask is the
Hydro Flask
brand.
I think is more expensive than Yeti.
What is it's not called yeah, okay, yeah. It's good. Yeti is a brand, Hydro Flask is a brand. I believe I have a Hydro Flask actually. It cost me
I do. Mine's just over there. I was drinking water
a
out of it
lot
this
of
morning.
freaking money. You're right
They're
about the
expensive.
expense. Yeah.
Yeah.
They are good because I've kept cold water in it for more than like 24 hours.
Check this out. I left one on a plane coming back from London.
Oh my goodness. Did you ever
Actually,
get it back?
Ireland. No, I don't care. I just bought another one.
You don't care, so you just got money to throw away. Way to just
I'm
make
not gonna stress
everyone here feel good. Thank you, Keisha.
No, I'm not
Appreciate
gonna stress myself out about a stupid hydro flask. Like, it's like, what, 50,
it.
60 bucks?
There are Americans out there that will. And as a sitting
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not that
representative,
serious. It's not that serious. Don't do it.
there are people who can't even fill their gas tank. Okay?
I
Can't even
feel you
fill their
there.
gas
I
tank.
feel you there. I feel you there. But I mean, I the first mistake I made was I lost the hydro flask coming back from Ireland. So that was the first part of that bad conversation.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. Thank you, Christina. Nothing better than drinking from Macho's mug. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
should we give her
Uh,
like a brownie? I mean, goodness gracious. Attention
a br-
seeker.
as long as it's a good brownie. Like my favorite brownie is like either peanut butter caramel with a little bit of chocolate chips in
Okay,
there,
we're talking about our
some
guest, not you.
dark chocolate.
It's not
Okay,
about you,
whatever.
Michael. It's not about
I'm just
All
saying.
right. Let's get
Anyways,
started.
we're working on it, but you guys can get the OG Morning Fix mug along with the OG Morning Fix t-shirt. These are limited. They're not going to stay out for long. I intend on creating a website. AJ's probably going to be like, "Yeah, I had enough of, holding your stuff." I want to create my own website and sell merch there, stickers, keychains, so on and so forth.
Yeah, AJ's trying to get rid of us. He's over us smooching off of him.
Well, I mean, he's getting a lot of traffic because of us. Okay, we're like his
Uh,
ambassadors. All right,
he's always
AJ,
gotten a
we
lot
are
of
your
traffic.
ambassadors, and you shall respect us. Okay, RESPECT. Find out
He's
what it
always gotten a
means.
lot of traffic from me. I'm the GOAT when it comes to selling the AJ merch. Let's do
Oh,
this.
you're hooking and slinging for him, huh? I thought you were about to spit out what was in your cup. Is there coffee in your cup?
Yes,
Okay, how do you like your coffee, Keisha?
the same as me.
Dark or black? Which one? How do we? Because again, there's different ways of
Is there a
describing. I want
difference?
my. Yes, there is a difference. Because dark means there's a drop of milk. Black means there's no milk.
Oh, okay, black. Good morning, logic.
Do
Black
you like it? Do you like black with sugar? Black without sugar?
without. Every
Okay,
once in a while, though, I will do like a creamer if I
no
feel like
sugar.
it.
No
But
sugar, no
I
milk.
prefer my coffee strong, so
Get out of here with the sugar and milk. It's disgusting. Unless you're going to Starbucks and get a pumpkin spice
I don't
latte.
do pumpkin spice lattes, but thank you.
Why not? You don't have your inner Karen in you? What's wrong with you?
I'm black. I don't like pumpkin.
Okay. Logic is going to be our special guest on Friday, by the way, Keisha. She's going to be here at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. She's going to talk to us about her push.
Okay,
Okay?
got you.
Are you ready to wrestle and tussle with me? Like, are you ready? Like, because I'm going to really reel in today. I'm going to get you really pissed off today, okay?
I'm not gonna allow it.
You're not. You have the
Nope.
mental fortitude today to dealing
I'm
with
gonna
me.
stay just like this in this monotone moment.
Sure. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
How does everybody like their coffee? How does everyone like their coffee? Me and Keisha, black, no sugar,
Somebody hates coffee. Who's
straight.
that? Who's that person that says I hate coffee? What's wrong with you?
Hellfire hates
Oh,
coffee.
hellfire. What's wrong with you? What do you mean you hate
You
coffee?
you know Hellfire? You know this person?
Sure, right there. Their name is right there. I know them perfectly.
Oh, so it's your best friend now, just like Maddie's my best friend, apparently.
I thought Maddie was your boo thing.
Maddie's my boo. Now it
Yeah.
went from that's your girl, that's your friend
Yeah, I
to
thought she was your boo. No?
oh boy, oh boy. All right, let's start. Let's pick up where we started yesterday, and that was obviously Dylan Mulvaney. Oh, I love creamer and a splash of coffee.
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
She
wow.
doesn't like coffee. What's going on here?
That's pretty despicable, Heather. I'm
Yeah,
sorry about
what's
that.
going on here?
Mm.
Triple
You know
shot of
what we're
espresso.
gonna
Yes.
do? What we're gonna do is one day I gotta go to Seattle. Okay.
Okay.
There's a place I want to go to certain places and I
Okay.
want to eat and have coffee and do like a little coffee tour because this is the morning fix. We have to find a place. And Keisha, since it's your realm, you will
Okay.
have to find us a place so we can sit down and do the show while having coffee.
Oh, that's easy. Okay. I can do that.
So you get your connects together, your things that you do, and get us going, get the ball rolling. All right.
Sure. Let's do that.
Because aren't you like some big shot over there?
Sure.
Like, don't you carry
Yeah.
weight over
Oh yeah.
there? Like, people
Oh yeah.
know your
Everyone knows
name.
my name. Everyone knows my name.
It's like cheers over there for you, right?
Everyone knows my name. Yeah. You want it?
Okay.
I will make it happen.
By the way, since you're a Gen Xer, what was your favorite sitcom growing up?
What did we watch? Cosby Show,
Cosby.
uh,
Okay.
Family Ties,
Family Ties. Okay.
Who's the Boss?
Wait,
Uh,
who's the boss? Who's that?
who's,
Who's that?
who's the Boss? Tony Danza, Alyssa Milano, um,
Wait, that was the
Growing
young Alyssa
Pains.
Milano. Wow.
Yeah, Growing Pains.
Growing Pains was very good.
I,
Very good.
I'm old, so
Wow.
it's kind of hard to remember those days. But so we used to watch A Different World. You know what the best part about when I was growing up and we watched sitcoms? So like the Cosby Show would end, and then Michael Jackson would air his new music video, right
Oh,
after.
really? Right after the sitcoms.
Right after the
Do you
sitcom, so,
think
like,
that's
he did,
how
like, Bad, he did Remember the Time, all those were released after sitcoms. So you would watch the show, and then Michael Jackson would release his new video after.
Ah, okay, okay. I didn't know.
Do
Do
you
you think that's a reason why he got pretty big, or
Yeah,
is it
that's
just
just
because
what it
of
was.
his history?
Yeah, it's Happy Days, Alice, we used to watch Laverne and Shirley, there's a lot of gosh, you guys are Different Strokes, oh, wow, this is kinda fun, it's making me
It
remember when I
was
was young.
very, like, diverse, right? You had black
Yes,
sitcoms, you had white sitcoms,
we
and
had a
they
little bit
weren't
of both.
lumped up
We
they
had
weren't lumped up into a specific channel. It could go
No, but we
anywhere,
had, like,
right?
things like Elf, like the show
Alf!
Elf.
It was called Alf, not Elf.
Elf, whatever,
Alf.
whatever, and then we had, The Wonder Years, we had The Wonder Years,
The
we
Wonder
had
Years. Oh, you are
yep, we
revealing
had
your age. Woo. This is
well, I
all
mean,
the 80s. No,
I
this
s
is the 70s. Alf was the 70s.
okay, I tell you all the time how old I am, but see, also, we had Saturday morning cartoons, so we had, like, Rubik's Cube,
I
we
remember.
had
I grew up under
Q*bert.
Saturday morning cartoons too
Yeah,
as well.
remember, what's your oh, okay, sorry, go ahead. Oh, yes, The Jeffersons, see, Give Me a
Jeffersons.
Break, look at that,
Yeah.
yes.
The Strokes. Strokes.
Good morning, Mr. Rant Room.
Mr. Rammer, I was throwing it out there into the galaxy somewhere, so I guess now his ears were ringing. We are your best
Facts of
ambassadors.
life. Yes,
We are the
Smurf.
best
Oh
ambassadors,
my god,
and
that'd be so
probably
cute.
Keisha would be number one. Keisha, have you been keeping receipts how much you've been spending? at the rec
It
room,
keeps
or
receipts for you, so
so
you could
you
just
have
log
a
right
whole
in.
documentary on how much you. So not
Yeah.
only has you actually spend your money, your greenbacks, I've
Yes.
also have shed a lot of time, doing a lot of advertisement on the morning
Oh, I
fix,
advertise
and
for AJ all the time. I'm a walking
so
billboard.
we also have
Unlike
Mr.
some
Full
people
Service has also been
Good
doing this
morning,
too.
Glenn. Unlike some people who tell AJ what they're going to spend and that they have this cart that, I don't know, exists in the cart land, I actually do it. I just spend it. Actually, I owe AJ a spending right now because he has some new merch that I need to purchase. I'm slacking on that,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna get there. I'm not gonna tell AJ the cart how much is in my cart and then never do it because my credit card got declined.
Why you not paying your bills?
Oh, no, that's what other people tell him.
I guess this is an inside something because I don't know what's going on
He knows
here.
what I'm talking about.
I'm
He knows.
totally lost. You
He
guys
knows
are on
exactly what I'm talking
TikTok,
about.
and then I'll find out through the group text. Can you believe that mother? Can you believe that? I'm like, what happened now? Oh, you're always gone. You're not even around. I'm like, I'm
You
not.
know,
I'm like, got other
and the
things I
worst
gotta
part about
do.
you not being around is you make us have green bubbles for nothing.
But it's just that I'm
No,
trying
no,
to
no.
keep up
No,
to
no, no.
speed, but
You make us have green
I
bubbles
gotta run a
for
show
nothing.
here. I gotta run a
Y
show
You want
here.
us to have green bubbles to include you in something that you're never a part of, so it just makes no
I
sense.
keep my thumb in it just so peek in. Let me peek in. Let me see
Okay,
what's
what's
going
the
on.
first topic? Let's
Oh,
go.
come
Go.
on. Don't push me along here. I got to run a show here. So sometimes I can't always just sit on TikTok and be, one of those people who just want to ruin their marriages. I don't want to do that, you know? Ju- Just
Woo!
had to throw that in there. Food lover, welcome. Food lover 74. We have a first timer in the
Welcome,
building.
welcome. You know what
In
the
the
best part about this is? So much shade comes from the TikTok.
It should be called Shade Talk. It should be. It should be. We should start a new realm. Everyone who's watching, we're starting a new hashtag. It's called Shade Talk. We're throwing shade. Glenn will love this. Glenn is probably soaking this up right now. As we
Mm.
speak, him and Mandy are devising a plan right now.
Mm.
So I'm excited to
They don't
hear it.
want
I
none of
can't
that.
wait.
They don't want none of that. Because we have whole conversations about people, and the only people who know are those of us who are in that conversation. Difference between us and them is that we keep our shit tight. We keep our circle super tight. We don't go in discords and telegrams and
We don't
WhatsApps and
do the
whatever that.
screenshots.
Yeah, we don't share screenshots
Screenshots.
from other people's chats. We
Hmm.
don't record them and then play it. We don't do that.
We don't act like we're on a live and then our phone fell in the shower. You know?
Oh, wait. We don't
Uh-oh.
seek help?
Uh-oh.
Wait, wait, wait.
He
See?
spoke to the enemy. He spoke to the enemy.
Oh my gosh. Mm. Wait, wait. We don't what else don't we do? We don't get help from someone's spouse and then go be with their spouse.
We don't what with the spouse?
We don't get help, like, people who are married. We don't go to their other spouse, and say, "Hey, yeah, let me." They come and say, "Help, help, help," and then when their back is turned, they go sleep with that person's spouse as a thank you for helping them. Yeah, that happened. You know who I'm talking about? Your
Oh,
boy, your boy.
I have a boy that does that?
Yeah, we talked about it.
I have a boy that does that. Me and
No, no,
that
no. That
dude,
does that.
we're
That did
tight.
that. That
We
did that.
were
No, no,
tight,
you're
him
not
and I.
tight. I'm not talking
Okay.
about Savory. What are you talking about? He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. Savory would
AJ's
never do
single.
something like that. No, not
Exactly.
my
No, you're not
guy.
tight. Are you crazy?
First
No.
of all, if anytime I see a guy is willing to step out like that, right? I know I got to keep my lady away from you, like 10,000 miles away from you, because next thing you know, I have to put hands on you because you're gonna be all over here like, so since he's not around, I don't trust your damn ass. Get out of here. Just the
It's
mere
not
fact.
not
And
him you
by the
see all
way,
the
you
time.
you're not gonna be with somebody that you have to worry. You don't keep one eye open.
That
But
part.
what I'm saying is the mere fact of taking the step. Don't
Well,
take
yeah,
that step.
there's a lot of disrespect on the toxic app. We get it.
Oh God. Oh Lord. All right.
Glenn.
Let's start. Sorry, I did that. My ears was bleeding listening to the nonsense on TikTok.
Glenn, I'm sorry I did that to you.
So let's
Whatever.
pick up where we started yesterday. I found this person on YouTube, Laura Chen. She
Okay.
talks about the Dylan Mulvaney and that is leading to the Ulta boycott.
Okay.
Okay, let's start. Let's do it.
Turns out that Dylan Mulvaney is actually pretty huge on TikTok because, of course, if there was a platform that person would be popular on, it would be TikTok. But
Speaking of the talk,
he does this series where every day he makes a different TikTok about what it's like to live as a girl.
Day one of being a girl, and I have already cried 3 times. I wrote a scathing email that I did not send. I ordered dresses online that I couldn't afford. And then when someone asked me how I was, I said, I'm fine, when I wasn't fine. So, how'd I do, ladies? Good? Girl power.
Now, if that video was all you'd seen from Dylan Mulvaney, you would be forgiven for thinking that he's just a troll, right? He's doing a parody. This is satire. He's trying to be over the top. Because obviously nobody, except for maybe the most extreme misogynist, could actually think that those things are what constitutes being a girl, right? Well, if Dylan is trolling, then he's got to be one of the most committed trolls that I've ever seen because he's been doing this whole shtick for, it seems, like a year now.
Day 66, being a girl, and today I'm in nature. Trees, I love them. Water, lakes, I love them. Heels, they're my hiking heels. I love them. Okay, come on.
Because that's what we do.
Bridges, love them. Coconut water, love it. Not an ad, just love it. Wind turbine, love it. Meadows, love them. I'm scared of getting Lyme disease. Love ya. Oh,
Jackass.
did you see that?
What you get?
I gotta get out of here. Did you see that?
There's a dragon.
people like this. This is why he got famous because of this.
Okay.
Wow, this is insane.
Oh my god. Never again. Get me out of here. Love ya.
Okay, it's day 200 of being a girl, and I think we can agree that it's been a whirlwind. I have a tendency to overshare my life, and y'all are still watching. How cool is that? Once upon a time, I was a boy who had ADHD.
All right. I'm going to make a bold prediction here. And I'm not romanticizing this. So I want people to hear me out. This reminds me of a story that seems like romantic people romanticizing this person, fall in love with the courageousness of this person. And unfortunately, this has a bad ending. I'm smelling a bad ending with this person. The minute this person gets ridiculed by the public or something bad comes out about this person, something bad is going to happen to this person. And I'm not going to say the word, but this is painting up to be that kind of bad ending. Do you get what I'm saying, Keisha?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope it doesn't go that route, but it clearly Dylan needs help. Dylan needs some serious help.
And now I'm a girl who still has ADHD. I really like possums and Twilight and pretzels. I accidentally became an influencer. Now here we are. Girlhood has had its ups and its downs, and here's what I've learned so far. 6, 7, 8. Women are awesome, but can also be cruel. I'm doing my best, and boys, they kinda drool. My hormones are wild, and my boobs kinda sore. It's only day 200, we have so much more to experience together. We're just getting started. Thank you for being my friend. You're open-hearted. I don't feel so alone. No more shame and carefree. Being a girl is awesome. Would you agree? Woohoo! Woohoo! Love ya!
So first off, I am sorry for exposing you all.
Wow. Please, thank you for the apology. I appreciate your empathy, Lauren. This is wow. like I said, folks, one of my favorite artists that passed away not too long ago was Juice World. Are you familiar, Keisha?
No.
Juice World did this song. I throw my pain on a dipping in the wishing well. Still no lie, but oh
No.
well.
Go
You
ahead.
never heard this? Okay.
No.
Anyways, Juice World. I mean, you know Pop Smoke. You should know Juice World.
Pop Smoke.
You know Lil Uzi Vert.
I've heard the name.
Okay, so they're all in the same realm. It
Okay.
looks like they were raised by anime. These kids look like they were raised by anime because they embody anime characters, right?
I don't even know what
Anyways,
anime characters look like.
are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
I don't watch anime, but I know anime characters.
I don't know what they look like, so I would have
Okay.
to look at them to know what you're talking about. But go ahead.
All right. Anyways, Juice World was writing a lot of music about his addiction to drugs, where he was, trying to figure out how to get in and out of it, and talking about why he was addicted to drugs because he was, having severe mental depression, some kind of relationship dysfunction in terms of like he was brokenhearted. This is what it led him to. A lot of manic depression. But he produced a lot of good music, but a lot of people were arguing, did we ignore the obvious? And duh, I mean, I didn't ignore it. I think most of the fans out there bought his music because they are feeling what he feels, right?
Correct. Mhm.
So this is what Dylan Mulvaney reminds me of because there are a lot of people hurting out there, Keisha, and a lot of people who don't feel comfortable with who they are, so they think they're greener pastures with this trendy lifestyle of transitioning until they realize there isn't, until they realize detransitioning is just as painful as transitioning, and then they realize, hey, maybe I shouldn't live anymore. And I hope, folks, if anyone out there is watching this on replay, if this triggers you or affects you, you can stop watching. That's fine. And if you need help, go to a hotline, right? Don't
Yeah,
go at this
absolutely.
stuff alone. Don't go at this stuff alone. I'm telling you, I'm not wishing upon this with Dylan Mulvaney, but this romanticizing of him transitioning is only leading this grandeur and this allure shows me that this is a way that he's finding his new identity. And there's going to be a day Dylan's going to realize this identity is not fulfilling. And the fear that I'm having here is that he's going to kill himself. That's what's going to happen,
It's not that it's not fulfilling. He's gonna lose the high because people will get bored and move on.
which we normally do.
Yeah.
You'll stop be the center of talking. I realize, like, for people like Jeffree Star, right? Jeffree Star is okay with who they are in their you know who Jeffree Star is, right?
Yes.
Obviously very secure with who he is or she is. I don't think Jeffree Star has different pronouns. I think Jeffree Star goes by he.
Yeah, I
I don't
think
know.
so.
All right. So, anyways, very secure with who he is. He's been called a racist. Has been called all this stuff, and yet is fine with who he is. He's not going anywhere, and I don't see him trying to glamorize his lifestyle other than the fact that he really enjoys makeup and he really enjoys having sex with hip hop artists, apparently.
Yeah. Athletes too, I think.
And athletes too, apparently. So-
Well, to that, don't you wish you could go back in time before you had seen that? I do, but I can't. So instead, I'm just going to share it to more people, kind of like The Ring. Remember that movie? So if this Dylan person was just trying to live his life, dress however he wanted, pursue whatever feminine interests he wanted, that wouldn't really be a story in and of itself. You can be a man and have whatever interests you want. However, what really rubs me, and I think so many other women, the wrong way, is Dylan's apparent insistence on the fact that he is pursuing girlhood by doing all of these different things, by portraying himself like some vapid bimbo online. What a lot of other women are referring to this as, and I agree with them, is woman face. And yes, it is in fact offensive. I mean, obviously, as a society, we've come to accept that blackface isn't really okay because you're perpetuating stereotypes when you do it, because,
okay, Lauren. Slow down. Okay. Woman face? What the hell is woman face, Keisha?
I'm assuming makeup.
Or
It's-
embodying a woman, but you're a
Yeah,
man, right?
like it's just an impersonation, but like,
Impersonation.
that's what
Yeah.
she's
I
talking
would caution and you're probably gonna disagree. I don't know. But don't ever make these comparisons, folks. Don't make the oh, this is just like this is just like that, because you're gonna lose people. Whether you agree or not, compare woman face to black face, stop it. Right? We get it, we understand it, but don't make these comparisons. These are stupid.
Not all black people look like this, have these features, have these interests or whatever. So when you try to distill an entire race down to these few things, it's kind of insulting, and it really diminishes the entire experience as a whole of what it is to be black or what black culture is. Even as a
Don't infuse, don't conflate, and don't even try to navigate in and out of it in this realm, right? There's nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with race. So this is
Correct.
where I have my point of contention with her. But I want her to get to the point where women have a gripe.
conservative, I can accept that. I wouldn't dress in blackface. Now, I'm not going to be super offended if someone else does, or if someone even dresses like in yellowface. So it's not something that I would do myself. What bothers me though is that we have still yet to realize that when men do drag, for instance, they are, for all intents and purposes, doing the exact same thing but for women. They are participating in woman face. They are trying to make the entire gender into its own stereotypes. Stereotypes, which by the way, are always the negative ones or the overly sexualized ones. And what a lot of women I think are also rightfully upset about is that through his TikTok showing, different days of girlhood, Dylan Mulvaney has risen to fame for better or worse. And heck, he's even found himself participating in collaborations with Ulta. Being an influencer online that's also working with Ulta, those are things that so many different women would absolutely kill for. And the way that Dylan Mulvaney has accomplished that is by parodying women, doing things that if actual women were to do, they would be mocked. They would be called a bimbo. They would be hated. They wouldn't.
Whoa. So doing the things women actually do would be hated and mocked?
No, she said that if women were doing those, actual women were doing those things.
But women do it naturally.
No. Like the way he's acting, we would be called a bimbo.
Oh, got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So just overly being overt with his femininity.
Yeah, like how he was acting in the park with the heels.
Yes, yeah, very just
very
pretty,
flamboyant. Yes.
yeah.
Be featured by major brands. And these criticisms are apparently something that Dylan has actually understood, because he did do a video kind of addressing them.
Okay, I managed to offend women on my first day of being one, and I just feel terrible about it. Some gals saw my video yesterday as perpetuating the stereotype, which it was, and it was satirical, but it was mostly for a way to me to be like, how do I connect with women?
Okay, so he's admitted that he is doing exactly what she's saying he's doing. Right? He's admitted it. He's doing satire.
Yeah, he's not on hormones.
So he's acting.
Yes, this is a performance.
But there is some embodiment to this, right? He is embodying this character that he's become.
Oh yeah, and look what it's got him. It's genius.
Okay, so yes, it is genius for marketing's sake. What do you think about Lauren Chen? I've said some points here. What do you think about this commentary?
I mean, she has some good points, but she's so out of pocket with it. She's extreme.
Yeah,
She's very extreme. Even in her comparisons, it's interesting how like they always go to comparison, like anything that happens, and you want to put when the person who's talking about it wants to put this extreme value on it, they compare it to black people and black experience and blackface. Like it went so extreme. What Dylan is doing is not the same as blackface in any way. But
not
if you
even
notice,
close.
but they always do that. They always take it, they make it about race, but it's always about black race. She said yellow, and I'm assuming because she must be Asian or something, and why she used the term yellow. But if you ever notice, when they want to put an emphasis on what something is, they compare it to like black people's struggle every time.
And the perseverance. So on the other hand,
she wouldn't be offended though. She wouldn't be offended if someone did blackface. Of course she wouldn't. Why would she?
But on the other side of the argument, the for Dylan's sake, the perseverance is like they'll compare it as the perseverance of the black race as well.
Okay.
Oh, we
Yes,
have to see our
exactly.
way through. We have to
So the
get beyond discrimination. We need to have equal rights. It's the same rhetoric. And
but
it's like,
here's the
why
funny
are we
thing,
doing that?
Dylan's not actually experiencing what it really is like to transition. Through Dylan's eyes, it's like this perfect, fun, glorious moment. I mean, he's sitting down with the president, he's getting all these endorsement deals, he's becoming wealthy, he has millions of followers, people love him. But no one has ever really truly embraced someone that just came out and said, "I'm transitioning." Like, every large creator protects him. If anyone spews any hate towards him, they come to his rescue. But there's so many trans people who are really going through it. And but Dylan, because what, he's cute, gets all that, he's sweet. Oh, we must protect Dylan. I mean, TikTok is full of trans people. They don't have millions of followers. Alter's not calling them. I mean, there's some bad ones on there. I mean, there's some dudes that have turned into chicks, and I'm like, God, dog. I mean, that used to be a dude. Wow. Okay, is how we
Yeah,
doing it? You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? He's not on hormones. His voice sounds exactly the same as it did from day one, as it does 300 or 200 or however many days he's in. He sounds exactly the same.
That's the funny part to say day one, day two, day three,
Yeah, and
because
then when you do
it's
go
like
on
you're
hormones,
not on hormones. What are you
but
on
when
day
he does
what
go on
for?
hormones, if he really was on hormones, he would start to develop breasts, like he would start to get breast tissue. So all of that would just naturally happen, and none of it's happening. He just looks like a little kid, like a little girl.
And I believe he did get the surgery, by the way. He just didn't, he's not on hormones.
He said he got the surgery, the bottom surgery?
I think so. I believe
Uh,
I could be completely wrong, but if
I don't know.
anyone in the chat, especially
I don't know.
Glenn,
I
if
don't
if
watch his
you can
content like
confirm
that
for
to
me.
know. But my thing is this though, like he looks like a little girl. That's
Yeah.
the part that is so disturbing. And that's why people rally around. Is because it's like this sweet little innocent soul. That's what makes Dylan dangerous.
The one thing about religiosity that people tend to I guess not understand is in certain aspects of religion, like the Muslim faith or even the Buddhist faith or any other faith outside Christianity, right?
Mhm.
Is a focus on behaviors, things you have to do to earn your way.
Right.
Christianity is about who you are, your identity, what you were meant to be.
Right.
And I think even outside of that, we can find we'll have insecurity when we fall off kilter with knowing who we are and what we're meant to do, what we're meant to be in our identity and how to live in the fullness of it. But I think we find our ways back because of being surrounded by what is called quote unquote wisdom, right? Wisdom is
Okay.
always around us. But this is what it looks like when they're pulling you away from wisdom, and just kind of like saying, no, we want to celebrate that. TikTok and his following and the likes and shares and him being able to go see the president, him getting sway now legislation is going to probably be argued on behalf. This is the enablement to this behavior, and it's going to lead to something catastrophic, very catastrophic, and it's very sad.
And it is sad. And it's also disheartening because ultimately, when you think about it, what they've done with trans is that, oh, to be this December. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Um, is that the new thing is you don't have to have any surgeries to be trans. You just need to dress the part. So you
Mhm.
just get to play dress up
That's it.
to be considered trans.
Yeah, I mean that's how it was. You were a transsexual in the 90s when you were not that and you were dressing something else, right? When men dressed up as women, they were transsexuals.
Cross dressers.
No. Cross dressers. That was the original. Yes, that was the original first thing that they said. They were cross dressers. Because just because you're dressing up this way doesn't mean that you are
You are
gay or
this
whatever.
way. Yeah.
You crossed. Okay.
Yeah. You like to wear
Um
whatever clothing.
he's saying normalize the bugle. Is that what it is? Normalize. What
I
is
was
that?
less than a year even mentally prepared for all this. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot,
Well,
and
from what I understand is you're supposed to do a year of counseling
which is he doing? Apparently, Dylan is doing that. Dylan is doing counseling. So,
well, we won't get into that, but go ahead.
All right. Anyways, to do a pivot and shiver, as Mayor Eric Adams so eloquently says, let's pivot and shiver. It's bulge, not bugle. Why did I say bugle?
I don't know. I didn't even
folks.
see it. I can't.
Sorry. I'm like reading quickly and I have many thoughts in my head as the show progresses.
So because he spelled it wrong.
It's bulge. It's bulge. Okay,
yeah,
got
it.
Hey, good spot. Good spot, Keisha. Thank you. That's why. I just said it as it was spelled right on the fly.
Yeah.
So I could read a teleprompter. I'm going to be like Joe Biden and period, end of quote. Like I'm going to be like that. I read that on the fly.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, let's do a pivot and shiver back to Brett Favre. And this was a person that I once looked up to in the sports world. Here's this person having a scathing interview about Brett Favre in terms of Brett Favre requesting inmates or incarcerated persons here in New York. Kathy Hochul has changed the terminology. It's no longer inmates. It's called incarcerated person. Using inmates to build a new stadium in Mississippi. Apparently that's seen as systemic and that's racist. White man wants to now beat on the slaves. I see no problem with it. Better than them getting 3 hots in a cot, sitting in a dirty, dusty, musty hotel, doing nothing, rotting away. They can put their hands to use other than to kill each other, right?
Is the person? Why is the person upset by this? I mean, it's working.
We'll see.
Like you would.
We'll see.
Okay.
All right, here it is.
People not wanting you to get at some of the information you're trying to get.
Yeah, Mississippi is the most impoverished state in the country. So about 1 in 5 people live in poverty here in Mississippi. I think that we have a huge issue with generational poverty. Across the country, a lot of people are living in situational poverty. It doesn't last very long, but
because this is all generational. Okay. Let me ask anyone in the chat, just out of curiosity, just real quick, and I won't interrupt much here, but Keisha included. Tell me what you would move to Mississippi for. I'll wait. Anybody off the top of your head? What are you going to move to Mississippi for?
There's nothing to move there for. You're just there. You're already
Is
there.
that a result of generational curse of the slavery?
No, you're
racism?
there. You're just there. You live there. Your
Has
family's
anyone
there.
been to Mississippi? I drove by Mississippi. I was just as
Yes, I have been to
bored
Mississippi.
driving. I was bored driving by Mississippi.
Like, see, everyone's
Okay?
saying the coast. So my family is from Biloxi, Mississippi. We still own our homes in Biloxi. Our family does. And so I've been to Mississippi many times. Biloxi, Mississippi, many times.
Where is it? North, south, east, west?
South. It's on the coast, right on the Gulf Coast.
And that's the only reason why people would go to Mississippi.
There's a good casino on the coast that's like it sells on the water on the coast.
So is it owned by natives? So that's res land. That's probably a res land.
No, it's on the water. It's on the water.
But
the casino's on the water.
Yeah, so it's probably by a reservation.
I don't know. I don't know. I just know my family is from Biloxi, and I hate Biloxi, Mississippi. I hate the South. Okay, large flying cockroaches. The humidity is a beast, but I will say the people are very kind. I mean, if you cook, everybody in the block eats. So, but
my question is, folks, is the Gulf of Mississippi, the coast, generating so much wealth for Mississippians? That's my question. No.
I mean, unless you're going to like Ole Miss, you would go to Ole Miss.
Right. So why are we conflating that there is no real revenue in the state to it being systemic and historical?
I don't know.
That's my problem. So either way, that's what I wanted to put out there for you guys. I won't interrupt no more.
Here we have, deep systemic, generational, entrenched poverty as a result of our history, which overlaps with race and racism, of course. And I kind of just wanted to get at the heart of that poverty question. Like, why can't Mississippi get off the bottom, right?
First off, 90% of Mississippi is white.
Okay, just let
Okay.
the stupid bitch
Okay.
talk.
All right.
And it seemed like a pretty obvious way to start would be to look at our social safety net programs. The Department of Human Services in Mississippi is the agency that administers federal safety net funds. You know, what are we doing with this money that we get from the feds every year to solve poverty? I wasn't seeing it. I wasn't seeing the results. So I kind of started grilling the agency back in 2017, 18, 19, trying to get records to show what they were doing with this program, and just hit barrier after barrier in getting information, lots of intimidation and gaslighting. But eventually all of the work sort of culminated to the auditor making 6 arrests back in 2020. And ever since then, it's just been kind of a mad dash to figure out what happened to all of this money that was misspent, which sounds like was near 100 million.
Tended out of $100 million.
In a way that was in violation of federal regulations or was spent legally or not. So, I mean, I'll tell you that a lot of the programs that we were supporting with this money are things that you and I might and support for children with, but weren't necessarily geared to low income.
Let's go through real quickly before we get to the Brett Favre portion of this. Can you just explain to us beyond those numbers?
And she wants that communication to support her defense that Phil Bryant was really the one, you know, operating this. And there's been, Phil Bryant has
a bit of a smoking gun.
Look at me
I
committing
think there was
federal crimes.
I think it was I'm too old for federal prison, and then the emoji with the sunglasses.
Oh,
whatever,
the other emoji.
Whatever you.
Right. Wow. Look at me committing federal crimes with the Brett Favre. How lucky.
You know what's funny is that some of them have, if we looked into their text messages, we can probably incriminate each and every one of them on something that's one-sided. Like, you guys are idiots, right? Yeah. I could be incriminated on most of my text messages because of the shit that we say, even in our group chat, Keisha, right? So it's like, stop it. Just stop. Just please. Everyone just stop.
They would also, I love
investigating welfare spending. And so all of these messages, the attorneys are arguing these messages can't be the ones that prove that he's innocent. That's a good question. I don't think that's for me to decide. You know, I think that there's all kinds of considerations that prosecutors are making.
Crimes here, or the misuse of government funds, or the brokenness of our political system?
Absolutely. But I've been covering this story for like 5 years now. And so while it's maybe saddening, I'm not surprised by it. I mean, it's not like the national media was calling me up in 2019 when I was telling everybody that welfare money was being spent on college scholarships for like wealthy white kids, right? You know, these are deep issues within our social safety net policies.
Just think about it, Keisha. This is what doesn't make sense to me. Welfare money being spent on wealthy white kids. If they're wealthy, why the fuck do they need the welfare money? If they're wealthy.
Scholarships, but that's just it. It's not welfare money. It's a scholarship.
It's a scholarship. So you're contradicting yourself because of your confirmation bias.
We need to really dig into their system in Mississippi that they keep saying welfare money. Like, I really want to know.
They're generalizing for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to know.
Feel like Don Quixote. This is actually a breakthrough. In your 5 years of reporting, you're finally getting people to pay attention. However it is you got them to pay attention to something, you're now getting them to pay attention to 5 years worth of exhaustive reporting with a whole lot of obstacles on it. Like, I cannot express to the audience how many powerful people with wealth would do a great job of presenting her with a whole lot of roadblocks so she would have never gotten to the truth of this story. It's hard work what you do.
It is, yeah. You know, I identified that from the beginning in 2020. When Brett Favre's name first came up, I had been, you know, it took a year fighting over this. Fast forward 2020 is when Brett Favre's name comes up. And I'm like, this might be actually the thing that makes people care. But then it took another 2 years. And of course, the pandemic probably had something to do with that. But another 2 years. and text messages where Brett Favre was saying, is there any way that the media can find out? I think was the big, that was the
always has been.
communication that really
Always. This last time you were on with us,
amazing.
and I want to ask you again, over the last week or since the last time you were on with us, what's the time that you called your friends or came home and were like, "It's lately," and you guys are sick of hearing? You're not going to believe what.
I think that I'm like desensitized to it now. So
I wanted to get to the part where they talk about him wanting to use prisoners to build the stadium, the volleyball stadium. And I just, wanted to throw that in here in the show. I just didn't have enough time to find that and cue that clip. Oh, well. But we get the sense, we get the gist of where this person who's been reporting on this, I found the root person who's been screaming this out loud. Aside from the prosecutors doing their job, this wouldn't have made national news had it not been for this person who is going all over the place trying to get her story out there because she's trying to find her big break. This is what she wants, folks. She wants to get on TV and she wants to appeal to the mass consensus of the liberal media. She's bought and paid for, period.
Okay, so what's interesting too about this situation is that even still with all this coming out, it's still not being talked about.
It's not because there is no credibility to it.
Oh, so
Because
the state misusing welfare funds is not something we should be talking about? So, I mean, I'm just saying.
no,
And the
it
fact that
is. It is. And that's why they talked about it at the right place that it was dealt with. People went to jail for this.
we know.
But she wants a specific person to get hit with this, which has
Yeah,
nothing to
the
do
rich
with it.
white man.
The rich white man. Because remember, it's the rich white man. It's always the rich. It's always the rich while you're poor. It's like, no, it's not. It's not. What are you talking about? If you're having no revenue in your state, look no further than the person you just voted for. Period.
That part.
That's it.
Well, no, we
It's
have
that
no
simple.
money because we're getting bent over constantly and everything is skyrocketing.
Over and over again. Like everything's skyrocketing, and you have a
Gas went
president of the
down to go
United
back
States,
up, right? So gas went down to go back up.
and it will continue to rise after the midterms.
Yeah.
I will say this though, like we have a president in office who says that we have an economy that's strong as hell, and he is more concerned about the rest of the world. Again, the stark difference between the Democrats is they worry about everything else. The Republicans worry about you. They worry about Americans. So which one do you want to vote for? 14 days until the midterm elections. My guess is vote for the person that's thinking about you. Period.
That part.
How would you define in this next segment here,
Mhm.
Keisha?
Yes.
You've been a lifelong Republican, registered Republican, right?
Yes.
And how would you define if someone was to sit down? I'm sure you've done interviews in running for office, right? Did you have a running for office kind of campaign? Did you have all of that?
I was kind of thrusted into it, but yeah, I had to speak to some people and get voted in, but yes.
Did you were you ever confronted by members of the black community as to why you are Republican?
No.
When did you run and when did you win?
The beginning of this year.
And that question never came up. Hey,
No,
you're
no, because
black.
no, the state that I live in does not actually, and I'm in King County, so the county doesn't exactly have a lot of me in it. Um, I'm just saying. I'm just keeping that 100. I've had others ask me why. But
It's not beige. It's pretty pale where you're at.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So no, I don't generally I probably get that question more, in the toxic app or outside of my state.
Right.
Anybody that I run into that looks like me is voting for me, if that makes sense. But I do get that question. I have gotten that question. So
Nanny Shandy, so is the state mishandling funds and the recipients are to being blamed? Is that what I'm hearing? No, it's the rich white man
yeah,
and the
that's
rich white men and the Republican Party, and blame it and look no further than the historical systemic racism, systemic history, and the systemic economic, I guess, insecurity that's going on in Mississippi. No, Mississippi does not have a revenue based market. that is worthwhile to people living there. Period.
Yeah,
Period.
it just doesn't. It just doesn't.
It just doesn't. So
Yeah.
people have learned to live with that. That's it. They've learned to live with it. It's not that, how can we, why are we the worst in the country? Look, maybe if you were a Mississippian, you're not thinking you're the worst. You're thinking this is your reality. This is your way of life. It's liberals who have to categorize it this way. They have to. They
Correct.
can't help themselves.
But even that's it's that way, and that's why I don't understand this whole democratic way of thinking. They're tolerant until they don't get their way, right? And when you don't think like them, feel like them, move the way they want you to move, it's a very controlled thing. And I just don't understand why people can't see that.
Very good point. All right. So I asked the question, were you ever faced with the question, you're black, many people
Am
who
I?
look like you, many people who look like you are typically Democrat. Why are
Yes.
you Republican? How would you answer that question?
Because that's where my core values are. I'm conservative, so the things that I stand for, the things that I believe in, are on the right. That's just how it works. I don't support those democratic values.
Or you don't believe in big government.
No.
Are you big proponent of school choice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Democrats want control. They want to tell you what to think. They want to tell you how to feel. They want to tell you how to live your life. They want to tell you what's right for you. That's how it's always been. It hasn't changed. We
Right.
saw it through COVID, right? Nothing's changed about that. I grew up in a Christian home. I'm a believer, right? That's just how it generally works on the other side, right?
Right.
So I don't support abortions. I just those things that I just don't support. So when you stand up in front of me and you say, I support you being able to kill your baby, I'm probably not going to vote for you. That's just the nature of the beast, right? So I always try to tell people, where do you guys stand on abortion? Well, there you have it. So my thing is that I'm going to go with the side that is more about where I stand and how I believe.
Yeah. The left is more intolerant. They do not respect religion. They do not respect
They don't respect anything
traditional
unless they
values.
tell you. They only respect what they tell you. And we're
I was
seeing this.
listening to one of the black liberals lives, just listening on just what they say. How could you be traditional knowing America's history? How like what kind, how do you explain your way through that? And it's like not everything is rooted in slavery. None of these
Okay,
people have experienced slavery.
slavery. But not
And
only
most of
that,
them haven't even experienced discrimination, but they talk
true.
about it so directly as if they have.
Okay, but not only just that. Think about it in this sense, right?
Mhm.
America has evolved.
Damn right.
It started one way and it evolved. People recognize like this bullshit is not okay. We need to change it. And they changed it and it evolved. Cuba is still communist after all these centuries. Like nothing's evolved, right? The government is still dictating and controlling. Look at
Mhm.
China. Look at all of these communist countries, right? We evolved.
Oh,
So the
according to TikTok, there's no such thing as a communist country.
whatever. So ask my ex-in-laws who came here from Romania. They'll tell you what it's like to be in a communist country.
Damn right.
They'll tell you. They'll give you firsthand what it's like to live in where the government controls the amount of food that's in your house. Stop with the bullshit.
Facts. All right.
Okay?
So
Don't do that.
here's how Joe Pinion was confronted on the Breakfast Club. If anyone doesn't know, Breakfast Club is where Charlamagne the God, DJ Envy, and
Don't I
Angela
hate when
Yee.
people used that name, Charlamagne the God. He's such a bitch.
Yeah, I know. But Charlamagne wasn't in this one, but Joe Pinion sits down with DJ Envy.
That part, AJ.
Where America is a racist country, but let the Mexicans in.
That part. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
All right.
Most I would say a majority of African American people and minorities are usually Democratic. So let's start. from there. So what made you want to join the, I would guess, Republican?
Look, for me, politics is not a zero-sum game. We're a four-party nation trapped in a two-party system. And for me, my political philosophy is consistent with what I call the mission statement of the Black Congressional Caucus. Black people have no permanent friends and no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. And I think the hard truth is that by making a permanent friend of the Democratic Party, by making a permanent enemy of the Republican Party, our permanent interests have been pushed to the side. And so it is not about saying one party is perfect or one party is evil, but simply saying what are the policies that are going to move our people forward, that are going to improve our communities, give us the future that was promised in our founding documents. And I think at this juncture, the policies that I believe in only have oxygen to breathe on the right side of the aisle. So that's just my perspective. It's a very impassioned one, but also one that is dispassionate when it comes to the emotions that get baked into one party or another.
What are some of the policies that you believe in that you feel like
All
align
right,
more with the Republican Party?
That was solid.
It was very solid, and it was. I don't know if anyone realized how pretentious the question even was. It was. Hello, good morning. First of all, this is the first few moments of the interview, and DJ Envy comes out of the gate, says, "Okay, you're in the Republican Party. A lot of African." What he really wanted to say, a lot of blacks are not, not a part. They're not with it, Joe. So why are you on that side, right?
Yep.
The essence of that question is not let me learn you. The essence of that question is why did you choose that side? Why did you walk away from us? That's the essence. That's how pretentious that question is. And the way he handled that question was amazing. He blew it out of the park. He blew it out. And I want to show everyone there's not a piece of paper on here that he's reading from. There's nothing there. My man has this recited. He lives this. This is his life. He's been a Republican since his CNN days. He's been a Republican since he was in college playing football. Okay. So this guy, he's really about that life. And Joe he's a solid candidate. He's not going to win against Chuck Schumer, which is sad. He is the better candidate of the two. Chuck Schumer's been in office for 46 years. He pretends to be for the minorities while literally want to put them in more of a financial disposition by offering what is it that we call it now? The free tuition nonsense. The student debt forgiveness. The only good thing that I could say that they urged is free tuition for certain income brackets in the state of New York. That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Local, right? Yeah. Chuck Schumer argued that. Good. Keep it there. It was really Governor Cuomo, to be honest. But Chuck Schumer, you guys are going to hear more here. But that was a great answer of what it is and why he's a Republican. So if anyone wanted to answer that question that way, that would be a great answer.
Well, let's be very clear. We need school choice, and we need it today. When you look at the educational outcomes for Black and brown students, starting right here in New York City, 65% of Black and brown children do not read at grade level. That's not a talking point. That's just the hard truth. You blast your eyes down to Baltimore, 75% of the students, most of whom are Black, read at an elementary school level. By any stretch of the imagination, that is child abuse, brought to you and sanctioned by our own government. And the people who are standing in the doorway, like George Wallace, preventing us from getting the opportunities that our children deserve, are people like Chuck Schumer, who smile in our face. We call him MC Chuck when he gets on stage. And yet time after time after time, the outcomes that our children deserve, the policies that we know work, this is no longer speculative. We've got 40 to 60 years of data that says that longer school days, longer school years work for getting children who have disproportionately coming from poverty and disproportionately have educational issues, the outcomes that they deserve. We're not getting it done because of the policies that have been rubber stamped by the left, by people like Chuck Schumer. So that's my perspective. Again, making sure that we're embracing the science of education that gives our children the future that we deserve. You could talk about public housing. We're $40 billion behind in repairs for public housing.
I've been screaming this all over my TikTok. Guys, you can see in my early TikTok content when I really wasn't sharp on how this whole thing works. I was talking about NYCHA. I was talking about the projects. Chuck Schumer is celebrating the fact that he got $600 million to repair a $62 billion repair job. And, you know, Joe Pinion is going to explain the rest of it. But the worst landlords in the country look no further than New York City government and look no further to Chuck Schumer, who's concerned with everything else but the city of New York residents.
We've got arsenic in the water. We've got lead in the paint. The largest slumlord in America today is New York City public housing. It's not a millionaire. It's not a billionaire. If JMV owned those buildings, perp walk his ass and send him down to the courthouse, because that's the hard truth of people living with government-sanctioned despair. 40,000 elevators stopped working at the height of this insanity. So again, I think for me, it's saying, what is the framework that allows us to put policies in place that lift people out of this generational poverty, that break that three-strand cord of despair that comes from the lack of educational opportunity, that has driven people into poverty, that is the catalyst for the crime that has kept our people in a prison of fear.
Now, you're from Yonkers, right?
Absolutely. YO.
How did you grow up in Yonkers? Let's talk about some of you growing up in New York City. So how was your background in coming up in Yonkers?
Well, look, I grew up in Yonkers. My parents got divorced when I was 6, so I was fortunate enough. My grandmother moved from Jamaica to help raise me in the aftermath of that divorce. Obviously, it was in Yonkers. I mean, I'm an 80s baby, so this was right at the time when we had the famous landmark desegregation mandate from the federal government, first desegregation case for public housing and public education put together. And so my mother...
What he's simply saying here is the problem that led to the bigger issue in the housing issue, right? Now
Yes.
making it labeled discriminatory at the fact that, hey, this is the criteria of the residents we want living in this apartment complex. They cited that because they were starting to desegregate. They said, hey, by virtue of this statute, or by virtue of this criteria, Keisha, this is seen as discriminatory and doesn't yield equitable outcome. So therefore, we're dropping it. I want everyone to really take a second today and look at there's plenty of videos on YouTube where you can look around and see what New York City projects look like today. They're horrendous. You have homeless people sleeping in the stairs in the hallways, doing God knows what, crack, masturbating, pissing, shitting all over the stairs. You have people smoking weed in the stairs, having sex, doing all that stuff in the stairs. You have stabbings, you have shootings, you have all types of things going on in the New York City projects. Now, this is a cultural just as much as it is government problem. And the thing about it is when they let down their hair, when they took away the criteria, they said, you don't need standards because you can't meet them. You're incapable of meeting those standards. So now we're going to take those standards away because we want to give you an opportunity. Does that sound familiar to you? It's not yielding the kind of outcome that they want. Now, someone is addressing me in the chat. Let me see here. Bro, the U.S. Embassy here in South Africa
No,
sent the...
yeah,
What?
AJ deleted that.
AJ did?
Yeah, and then they just said, mods, why was my message deleted?
Oh, okay. I don't know what that means. I have it on this on the other streaming software. That's why I see it. I don't know what
Yeah,
that
that's why
means.
we still see it.
Okay. All right. Continuing.
Mother's perspective was that the opportunities that I deserved weren't necessarily going to be attainable in that period. I was fortunate enough to get a grant, went to Horace Mann in Riverdale, and from there was able to be fortunate enough, recruited to go play football at Colgate University. So for me, I think I've seen up close the people that I grew up with that didn't get that break in life, didn't get those opportunities, that I know were just as talented as I was, find themselves in this untold story of New York, where we have a place like Rochester, New York, where we have more murder per capita than Chicago, Illinois. We don't talk about it. Have a place like Syracuse, New York,
It's very
where
sad.
we have the highest per capita child poverty in the nation. We don't talk about it. Here in New York City, 3 out of 5 black children in the Bronx live in poverty. 1 out of 3.
I want everyone to know that the areas he's mentioning is the areas of of what Chuck Schumer should be focusing on as a senator. Is his focus on that? No.
No.
Is his focus on what he wants to do vicariously by way and by virtue of using his platform as what? The majority leader? You have control of the Senate. You have control of POTUS. You have the control of the House. And I don't hear anything that's going well for New York. In fact, they have a net migration higher than they have an income. So this is incredible that this is not ringing alarms and that there's not a long line lining up in a liberal city, a liberal state like New York, lining up behind Joe Pinion, who is a black man, who stands strong, stands strict in his convictions, and is as free as they come. But here he is. He's representing the wrong party, Keisha. What does that really tell us?
The, he's representing the correct party because he's free.
He's free.
Like I saw a video
and we
that
can't help him. We can't help him. That's the problem.
No, because New York for some reason doesn't want to be free. New York likes being controlled.
Facts.
They keep electing everyone that wants to control them, and obviously New Yorkers like that. I don't know what else to say.
Oh no. If you really talk to New Yorkers, they don't like it, but they stay along party lines for some reason.
What party line? The party line of the free or the party line of the slave?
It doesn't matter. We have the most stubborn voters in the country in New York. We have the most stubborn voters.
So then again,
stubborn people and the most stubborn voters.
And then I'll say again, they like being controlled. You can't be too stubborn when you keep electing the people that want to control you. How stubborn can you really be?
Well, hopefully it'll show its face coming next month when Lee Zeldin wins the governor's seat.
Black children in the state live in poverty. 1 out of 4 Latino children in this state live in poverty. These are the untold stories of pain and suffering that don't talk about because the elected officials we send back year after year, in the case of Chuck Schumer, 42 years down in D.C. He's been there longer than I've been drawing breath on this earth. It all starts with the fact that they'll pay a lip service to our pain and then laugh about the fact that they are empowering their friends, they are enriching themselves, and we are the ones left with crumbs at our own table.
What are you going to do to change that? And what makes you, the person to change it? I mean, every time it's political season and there's elections, we always get politicians that come and, they tell us what they're going to do, and they tell us where they're from and how they grew up and what they've seen. And then when they get in office, they just turn their back and then we don't see them until 4 more years later. So what makes you the difference?
Okay. You know what DJ Envy is revealing here? He's revealing here, folks, why you have such a low turnout of Black and Hispanic voters in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, right? And I would say even Massachusetts. Why do you have a low turnout? Because this is the way they see politics. This is the way that they're geared. This is what's in their face all the time. But they never speak to the right politician. Joe Pinion is the guy you want to talk to. Lee Zeldin is the guy you want to talk to. Harry Wilson, Andrew Giuliani. These are the people you want to. Rob Astorino.
But why do they always say to them, "What makes you different"? Like they always ask them, "What makes you different?" But they keep voting for the person that they only see.
Exactly right. What about Joe?
What makes sense?
Ask Chuck Schumer that question, dum. Why don't you bring Chuck Schumer onto the Breakfast Club?
Like, why should we re-elect you? You said this last 4 years, or the 4 years before that, the 4 years. Like, they never asked them those questions.
Yeah,
but
he's
the new person on the block, you need to know.
He's the new guy.
The new person on the block. Like, so we're gonna ask the new person on the block, what's different about you, bitch? I'm not them. You keep voting for them, and everything they say you see is a lie. They have not brought anything into fruition for what they said. But here you are asking me, what am I gonna do different? Follow through. What a concept.
Actually do what's best for the New York residents.
Than any of that.
Well, look, I'm glad to be here at the Breakfast Club. I'm new to the Breakfast Club, but I'm not new to this struggle, right? I've worked for a congressional district in the country, which is the Bronx, by the way, providing bridge grant loans for at-risk youth who need a little bit of extra money to go off to college. So for me, whether it's talking about the fact that I'm a Republican, or the fact that I'm running for U.S. Senate, it's rooted in my personal understanding of what it means to be a black man living in the United States of America, living in New York. Solutions, let's talk about the fact that, again, this country, we prioritize what we value. We value wealth and we value power.
That's right.
Whether we're talking about children being shot dead in Uvalde, it's because that they are not the inheritors of power, because they are not the children that come from wealth. I've gone to some very nice institutions, and I know that when Diddy's kids showed up at Horace Mann, and when Spike Lee's kids showed up at Horace Mann, 6 o'clock came, and all of a sudden, here comes the night crew changing the windows on the building, changing the doors on the building, because there are...
Notice the two examples he brought up.
Yes.
Okay.
Best practices that are put in place when you are the child of privilege, when you are deemed a high value target. The reason that our children are not reading at grade level and people don't talk about it constantly, the reason why we have entrenched poverty in our communities is because we have not been deemed high value targets. We have not been deemed high value assets. And so here we are, in a nation that was built by us but not for us, with the people that we have entrusted with the power to get us the outcomes that we deserve, and nothing changes. 42 years Chuck Schumer has been in D.C.
So since you started with education,
Yeah.
right, I do want to ask specific policies of what can be done, because education is really important to me. Also, I'm a New Yorker. I'm from
Right.
Brooklyn. And so with the public school system, let's start there. You said you think longer hours.
Well, let's be very clear. The public school system today in New York City is more segregated than the height of Jim Crow. I saw the New York Times.
And, you know, Bo Snurley, right? James Golden talked about this on his radio show, that they're still fixated about the whole segregation of the South. Meanwhile, the most segregated schools are in the Northeast.
Right.
So you talked about this, is like there's a whole article on this whole thing, and it's crazy how everyone overlooks this, but usually it's always the silent majority that reveals this to everybody.
Front page posts where they were excoriating the yeshivas. Meanwhile, we know for a fact there were close to 70 schools in city public schools where had less than 5% of the black children doing math at a proficient level. Close to 60 schools we had less than 5% of the Latino students reading at a proficient level. So that is child abuse. What future do you have if you can't you literally cannot read the names on the ballot? So I think from a policy standpoint, we have to embrace the fact that, number one, we have not codified reading as a human right and a constitutional right for the people that call this nation home. That is one of my priorities going down to D.C. We have to start there, set the
There it is.
number one, the priorities, and then set a standard.
Get these damn kids to know how to read and write.
For accountability. If we're going to drag the black mother in Ohio to prison for sending her child to a school in the wrong zip code, who do I get to send to jail when the child walks into a government building for 13 years and walks out without the tools they need to become the best version of themselves? And time after time after time.
Wow, this dude is special.
Millions of children all across this country that look like us, compounded year after year, are walking into the world without what they need to thrive. We just saw this past week, Adrian.
You know who he reminds me of, Keisha? He reminds me of a young Larry Elder. Like he just keeps spitting. Yeah, he's just spitting it all out without stuttering. He's just kind of like one after the other. Yeah, it's just crazy. All right, let's see.
Adrian Peterson, one of the greatest running backs to ever live, made over $112 million in his career, not counting the endorsement, get knocked out for a check $15,000. Because we have not taught our children how to keep what they earn. Even when you are the best, the brightest, the most talented, the system is designed to make sure that our people, our communities do not come out on top. So for me, again, this is not about left versus right. It's simply about right versus wrong. I'm not here to convert every single person to the gospel of republicanism. I'm here to let people know that we cannot afford 6 more years of Chuck Schumer. We cannot afford 6 more years of individuals who are going to pretend to be our friends and then turn around and do things that have very little to do with the real suffering we're experiencing every single day.
You know we're not attacking you.
No, I know that. No,
see, that's how you know. That's how you know they get hit with truth when DJ Envy has to sit there, listen to the facts, and simply go, "We're not attacking you. Nobody's attacking you. Nobody's coming at you." She asked him a question on what are some of the policies that you would implement, and he literally gave down right to the bare bones and says, who do we convict when we send our kids to a government building for 13 years and can't read and write on the other end of it? Who do we convict? But we convict a black mother for taking her kid to a different zip code in Ohio, right? So this is the kind of, we're not New Yorkers are not used to hearing common sense. That's the problem. So there you
Okay.
go.
I was
Yeah.
just asking for a
You
specific.
acting like we attacking you. We just we
No,
we're
look,
trying
I'm
to get-
passionate. I'm
I understand you
yeah.
passionate. But we're not attacking. We're trying to get to know you.
Ken Envy is triggered. He's
Yes.
clearly triggered.
Extremely.
Yeah.
We're just asking certain questions, policies. It
'Cause I
seems
also think
like
with
you're very
T-
defensive about being a Republican, and we're just
No.
asking because a lot of
And this is all right. This is a tactic of New Yorkers, by the way. Keisha, did you know that that's a tactic of New Yorkers?
To do what?
Okay, so when I was growing up and I would get bullied and I would react, it would be like, yo, we're not attacking you. We're just playing with you. We're just playing with you.
Oh, like what you do to
Like,
me.
why you gotta act like that? Why are you being defensive?
Like you do to
What's
me.
wrong with you?
Like you do to me.
Yeah. And the antagonizing is a New York thing. That's just what New Yorkers
Oh,
do.
got it.
So he's reclining to that right now as we see. You guys are seeing it full hand. He is not being aggressive. He's hitting them with facts, and he is not stopping to take a fucking breath. And New Yorkers take that as intimidating. That's why DJ Envy is like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up. You're not gonna come at Envy like that. No one's attacking you. She just asked you a question. We're trying to get to know you. And if I was Joe Pinion, so you know me now.
Yeah.
You want daddy here now, all right? So it's not my fault.
Uh-oh.
Y'all didn't have daddy to raise y'all. It's not my fault.
We'll have these questions. And that's what we're not doing. We're not attacking.
No,
you.
no, no.
We're asking questions because a lot of people might not know about the policies.
Grow
might not
up.
know much about politics. A brother come in here talking about he's running for U.S.
You're
Senate.
what he's also saying is I'm intimidated by your knowledge as well. I'm
Yes.
intimidated by your diction. You're not coming in with the rah-rah, the slang. You didn't come in here like Eric Adams when he was like, no, we got it. We're going to pivot and shiver. And we're going to do this. And you're not coming in with that swag. You're coming in here real sharp. Your tie, your suit is pressed. You look good. You're not wearing Fat Farm. You're not wearing the Gucci Fendi belt. And, you know, we're trying to connect with you, brother. You're already on the other side. So
Correct.
We want people to understand why they should give you a chance or why they should give you a vote.
No, absolutely.
We're not attacking.
And there's a lot of people who are not registered to vote or who may not even be paying to who's running in an election. And I always tell people, like, yes, you have to register to vote, but also know who's running for office.
Correct.
So when you go there, you feel prepared.
I want to get to the
voting
crux.
for.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here because
I wanna
that
get to
is
the
part of
crux
it.
here.
As we sit here, he doesn't want to defend his record, but I think the Republican is because sometimes you have to address the elephant in the room. I think that we have to acknowledge Jason about the fact we're black and brown are the New York, and then the best practice for our community. We wouldn't have any problems. He has been in government his entire life, 6 years in the New York State Assembly, then he went to Congress, and then he got elected to the United States. Needs to be safer. Do we need policing to be better? Absolutely. But I don't think that you should throw out the toothpaste tube before you figured out where you're going to get the next roll of toothpaste from. All you end up with is halitosis, bad breath.
Well, I think it's really about also having resources for other things like mental health and
Ah,
other
yada,
community
yada,
leaders
yada,
that can
yada.
actually help and support Attorney General Letitia.
It's not about left or right. It's simply
Keisha,
saying
you're going to like this. Ready?
what works and what doesn't work. And yes, we should make sure that we have community policing. We should make sure that we have that we hold bad police officers accountable. But I think that all of that is part of a much broader conversation of getting more dollars toward the situation, not less.
Now, since we're talking about New York State, I want to talk about our Attorney General Letitia James and what's going on right now with Donald Trump. You know, I see 3 of his children are being charged now, and the Mar-a-Lago secret documents and all these things going on with Trump because you are a Republican.
Right.
So I want to get your thoughts on Tish James. I see Donald Trump going at her all the time. And so what are your thoughts on her, bringing up charges against him for committing fraud with his businesses?
My position is that...
Why don't she look him in the eyes as she says it, though? Like, look him straight dead in his... Okay.
Stop.
Sorry.
We've got people being killed every day, and perhaps that she should keep that same energy for that. My perspective is that we've got big tech corporations from Facebook to...
He got me right there. Once he said, we got kids dying on the street, and she should have that same energy on that. That's where he got me for. That's where he got me. So you said he's better than Larry Elder.
Yes.
They try to hit him with since you're a Republican, what do you think of Donnie Trump?
Yeah, well, we
do
can't
you
get
think of
past
Tish?
without having that conversation now, can we?
Because they got TDS. Everyone has TDS.
That part.
That's the problem. They don't know how to get over it. They'd rather deal with the laughing hyena over here who can't answer questions. What do you think of the laughing hyena? You shared with me this video not too long ago of the laughing hyena not answering or addressing a question. So I want to get your thoughts before you head out. Ready?
Yeah.
Check her out here.
But they also have a calculator on their website. So if you go to rewiringamerica.org, you can find out how much money that you can get to help electrify your home, whether it's getting an electric car, getting a heat pump water heater, and even for low and moderate income Americans, getting an induction stove. So I could go on and on about heat pumps for a while, but this isn't about me. This is about you. So I would love.
So what do I think about heat pumps?
Well, obviously you must love them. But I would love to hear what are some parts of the Inflation Reduction Act, this amazing new law that you are most excited about?
So much. One of the things that I'm very excited about is what we have been doing in terms of electric vehicles.
Oh my God.
And I have a particular fondness, I must tell you, for electric school buses. I love electric school buses. I really do, and we're manufacturing them in our country. I've been to the manufacturing plants. I've been on these electric school buses, and think about it. Aside from the pandemic, on a daily basis, 25 million children in our country every day go to school on those diesel-fueled school buses. Mm-hmm. And hundreds, thousands of school bus drivers are driving.
Oh my
those
God.
buses, which are then these people, these children, these adults, are inhaling what is toxic.
Whenever you're ready.
And so I think about it in terms of the manufacturing piece
Listen.
of it.
Okay.
I think about it
Okay. Okay. What does that have to do with inflation? Can we just go there? Okay. We asked about the inflation bill, and this stupid. Okay. She is talking about, and you know what the worst part is? She can't even speak about electric buses correctly. She is worse than the dementia-ridden idiot.
But as she's talking, she's looking for affirmation. She's like,
yes,
and they take the buses.
Yeah, and 20 like the people who are interviewing her already know she doesn't even make any sense. How is it that someone asks you about a bill that you're passionate about, this inflation bill, and then you just go ahead and fall off the side of the ledge talking about electric school buses and
My
children
question
breathing in
is,
fumes?
how are they breathing in fumes when the exhaust is beneath them, behind them? Like,
Dude. You know what? I can't. Listen. What is really going on? And people continue to support these fools.
But they were clapping. You heard them, right? They were like,
Hey,
this.
wait,
They were
go
like,
back. Rewind it back just a little bit. Just rewind it back
Just
to when
a
she
little-
asked the question. Can we just go back to that? Just
to
let
when
her,
she asked the question?
yes.
Okay,
Okay, and then
let's
let
go.
her look at her notes and pause before she responds. You watch. Just go back to that.
Oh boy.
Then I got to get
What
out
are
of
some
here.
parts of the Inflation Reduction Act, this amazing new law that you are most excited about?
Inflation reduction.
So much. One of the things that I'm very excited about is what
looks at
we
her
have
notes.
been doing in terms of electric vehicles.
Oh my. One more time. Hold on. One more time.
That's why I was laughing at first. We're talking about inflation reduction, but
right
we're
there.
going to.
Okay, go.
This amazing new law that you are most excited about.
You are most excited about. You.
So much. One of the things that I'm very excited
looking at her
about
notes.
is what we have been doing in terms of electric vehicles. And I have a particular fondness,
Just
I must
watch,
tell you,
watch.
for electric school
Watch
buses.
her face.
I love electric school buses. I really do, and we're manufacturing them in our country. I've been to the manufacturing plants. I've been on these electric school buses, and think about it.
Look at her.
Aside from the pandemic, on a
Tell
daily
us.
basis, 25 million children in our country every day go to school
Look at her. Look at
on
her.
those diesel-fueled schools.
It's like she's looking for affirmation. She's like,
Okay.
25 million. Anybody want to correct me? Anybody?
Right. That's what you say, right?
First off,
Producer.
and they're breathing fumes. They're breathing in these fumes. How are they breathing in fumes? They don't ride behind the bus. They ride
Okay,
in the bus.
can we ask what that had to do with the Inflation Act that she's so excited about?
It has nothing to
Reducing
do with
Inflation Act, the bill, whatever?
because it's indefensible. The
Oh, got
Inflation
it.
Reduction Act
Okay,
has nothing to
so
do with inflation. Even Bernie Sanders said it. This has nothing to do with inflation. So it's
okay.
hilarious that they
Well,
continue to peddle that.
I gotta get out of here, but before I go, I wanna say something to everyone that's here.
Yeah.
I know that you guys could be other places. I know you guys could be right now currently on TikTok in a live talking about nothing instead of supporting us. But you have chosen to be here with us this morning and every morning. And I so greatly appreciate each and every one of you. And the statement that I just made was complete shade. So when anyone watches this back on the replay, and anyone that was here this morning that is still not currently here, and at this very moment at 8:36 Pacific Standard Time, your ass is in a TikTok live. No, I'm
Yep.
talking to you because I see you. So with that being said, I'm sick of you fraudulent, fake ass supporters. I'm cool. So don't ask me to support you. Don't tell me I'm your friend. Don't tell me you have my back. Don't tell me you're here for me when your ass really isn't. I mean that with all of my body, fiber, and being. I'm saying that with my entire chest. I am sick and tired of you fake ass people. I'm out. I'm
All
done.
right, we'll take a break. We'll take a break. Hello and welcome back to the Morning Fix Live Radio Show. I'm your host, Macho. Happy Hump Day. It is October 26, 2022. It is 11:39 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and approximately 63 degrees here in New York City. We're having a great time. Happy Hump Day with all of you. We want to continue the coverage. We got about 20 more minutes left. And did anyone get a chance, any of my fellow New Yorkers out there get a chance to watch the New York gubernatorial debate yesterday? 82% of people who voted in, excuse me, that was a different stat for somewhere else, but people are raving. People are saying that Lee Zeldin knocked us out of the water. And he needed to have this debate. And I think this is what solidified him by swinging some of those question mark voters, some of those stubborn voters who are Democrats, who are probably going to vote for Lee Zeldin because of this. He has a pulse and he is talking about the kitchen table issues, the economy, crime. He's talking about why people leaving the state. How can we get a handle and bring them back? Right. I think he did a phenomenal job. He navigated through things. He was articulated. He was poised. He did what he needed to do. He's not my first choice My first choice was Harry Wilson. I thought he was a great candidate to appeal to the Democrats in New York. Whether you like it or not, folks, Democrats dominate the space in New York City, New York State in general. In the outskirts of New York City, it's dominated, it's completely red, right? But you need to win New York City in order to run the state, to carry the state. But here's a bit of how that debate went down. This was the portion, I believe, about the economy of New York.
Could you talk about specifically how you plan to provide relief to New York families?
Sure. Well, we have to bring spending in this state under control. We've seen all these bailouts coming from the federal government, and the state just decides that they're just going to increase spending, and that becomes a new baseline for the next year. Well, what we have to do is have a state spending cap. We need to bring down taxes across the board. We should reverse the state's ban on the safe extraction of natural gas and pursue other opportunities to create more jobs and generate more revenue and revitalize communities. We should all be able to proudly say that we are living in the greatest state in the greatest country in the history of the world. It's more difficult, though, when your state is leading the entire nation in population loss. So whether it's industry, whether it is, like, for example, the people in the southern tier desperate for being able to reverse the state's ban on the safe extraction of natural gas, approving new pipeline applications, and more. Generate revenue, bring spending under control in this state, bring down taxes. New York is going to be back open for business, baby, January 1st.
Thank you. Same question to Governor Hochul.
It's an interesting response. Let me talk about what I've done, but also respond to what we just heard. If you're really serious about helping people, you cut their taxes in middle-class families. I did that this year with the legislature. We gave people property tax rebates this year. We suspended the state tax on gasoline to help get more money back in their pockets. But the most expensive thing for our families is their mortgage or their rent payments. I have a plan heading into the next session, which is thoughtful. We're going to be able to create up to 1 million new homes so we can help drive down the affordability issues for families. I'm focused on this, but it's so disingenuous to say you want to create jobs when you, as a member of Congress, vote against everything that would create jobs. You voted against the infrastructure bill. You voted against that was.
All right, this is where she walked right into a trap, right? And I'm sure Lee Zeldin's going to respond here. But before we do, Keisha wrote this. I want to tell everyone here, thank you for your continued support. I truly appreciate it. If anyone knows her, knows that when she is thankful, period. She stepped right into a trap. She said a Republican said no to an infrastructure bill. Historically speaking, when Democrats propose, who have a dominated state Senate, they're overly represented in the state Senate here in New York State, excuse me. Of course, a Republican is going to vote against an infrastructure bill when it's packed up with so many things that is going to require a bailout from the government. What Lee Zeldin wants to do is to be independent of the government. What Hochul wants to do is create wishful slush fund opportunities that would render us broke in the coming years, to then having to go to the federal government and say, hey, we overspent. All right, let's continue.
Bipartisan. You voted against the Inflation Reduction Act that would have brought more money to help protect our environment. You think that, I know you're an election denier, but also
because he has nothing to do with inflation. But now he's an election denier. Here we go.
So a climate change denier. I mean, it's absurd that you live on Long Island and we're talking about the 10th anniversary of Superstorm Sandy. That federal money can be used in our state to build up resiliency so we don't lose people's lives again. We have to have smart economic policies. I know how to create jobs. Ask Micron why they came to New York with 50,000 jobs, because we know how to do that. And I'm going to continue focusing on building our economy back.
Mr. Zeldin.
Yeah, sure. And obviously what the governor's not pointing out is that she's hitting all the commuters now with a congestion pricing tax. She's not talking about hitting the farmers with a...
Let's talk about the congestion tax, okay? Let's talk about that for a second. The number one driver in New York City alone, I can't speak for the rest of the state, the number one driver, the number one person who is behind the wheel in New York City, take a wild guess, and they would be hit with a congestion tax, rendering you would be hit if you're in a passenger in these cars. New York City cab drivers would be the ones mostly affected for that. You know who else would be mostly affected? The second, not, big, large companies that do deliveries, Amazon, all these companies will get hit hard, which means everything locally would get expensive. Oh, we're going to have to pick up that tab. That's why no one is backing this. They took a poll, they took it, they're like, nope, we'll deal with the congestion. It's fine. No, but we want people to take the subway more. That's fine. You can't put Amazon in the subway. Unless you put Amazon in its own subway car with its own track around the city and they make their deliveries that way, sure. How about our food? How about our shipping in terms of our mail carriers? How about they will all be hit with this congestion tax? So no, you cannot pass this. This doesn't help us. Also, why isn't Kathy Hochul talking about what Democrats like AOC push to not have? Over 50 plus thousand jobs were turned away because Amazon could not put his home in headquarters in New York City. 50,000. You could say what you want about the industry, about the company, and about the whatever. 50,000 jobs. And guess where those jobs would have been? Most of those jobs would have been where it was planted. And I've heard people make the argument, oh no, they were moving people over. Yeah. Executives, managers, area directors. Yeah, they were going to move their people over, of course, because they got to keep their culture. But the minute they plant and they figure things out, they'll be able to hire and move those guys to a different location. But instead, you know where that went to? Trenton. Why would it go to Trenton, New Jersey? Because Trenton, New Jersey is not only cheap, it's also revenue the least amount in New Jersey. Trenton and also Camden, New Jersey. Camden and Trenton are both terrible areas next to Paterson, New Jersey.
A reduction of the overtime threshold from 60 hours to 40 hours a week. As a member of Congress, I actually helped get the FAST Act passed in 2015 when I first got there. And you know that for all those people in the Long Island Expressway who are tired of hitting all those potholes, all the damage done to vehicles, it wasn't until just now, just before an election, that they were spending the money that we got allocated in December of 2015, dragging their feet from one industry to the next, regardless of whether we're talking about the east end of Long Island, the southern tier, or anywhere else, those farmers in the North Country and beyond. Kathy Hochul has been failing every step of the way, but that's the rest of the story she won't tell you.
Thank you. I will be happy to tell you a response to that. First of all, those infrastructure dollars are supported by votes in Congress. You didn't even bother to vote to help me fill $86 million worth of potholes. People love the LIE now. It's just out there. Southern state. People are so happy to see this done. And I've got it done because I know how to.
So I will tell you guys this. She's 100% lying. Let me tell you why she's lying. Every Republican who ran against Lee Zeldin said one thing and one thing only. Lee Zeldin voted with Governor Cuomo 90% of the time. 90% of the time. Because he was trying to build a bridge. Everyone knows Lee Zeldin as the bridge Republican. He's not a fusion Republican. He's not a Democrat by any stretch. He's going to walk and talk and act like a Republican, but he understands where he is. The reason why Republicans win in New York State is because they understand where they are. You can't strong arm this state. So you can walk, talk, and act like a Republican, but you also have to understand that you have to make deals with the devil. That's what Republicans in New York understand. So you're not going to hear Lee Zeldin begging the federal government for money. What you're not going to hear is how he wants abortions up to the day a child is born. What you're not going to hear is a Republican that is not going to simply say, hey, we need to defund the police. No, he's going to allocate more money to the police, have higher amount of state troopers. He's going to allocate better funding with Rob Astorino on his team. He has a lieutenant governor who was a police chief. She's a woman police chief. She's going to speak into this public safety issue because they know that if you have a safe city, you have a great city where people are going to want to move, not only move their business, move their votes, and move a better environment to this place. Now you need to encourage and train officers to do their job and do what they're hired to do, not to be afraid, sit back, or be ridiculed by a mayor who cares less about public safety and more about how he looks. It's very clear. Lee Zeldin has also talked about how he's willing to work with Eric Adams, how he can't wait to work with Eric Adams, how he can't wait to work with all the Democrat state senate. First off, everyone knows the man. This would be an effortless transition, but the only difference is that most of you out there, most of you New York residents, you know that feeling that Eric Adams is talking about, that perception that you may have that Eric Adams is talking about crime, that would virtually be eliminated. The people leaving on no cash bail, the 15 days of discovery law that ADAs have to live under, guess what? All expanded, all gone. It's all going to be dealt with in a more common sense fashion so that people are not going back out same day to commit more crimes. Because we have a major problem, not only in New York. Remember, we set the tone in this country. If we don't have a handle on crime, none of these other progressive liberal states will. We need to show the rest of the country we can do it. And Lee Zeldin is your guy. Lee Zeldin is your guy. He's definitely your guy. He's got a lot of good people on his corner. He, in fact, also has very large components of the Democrat Party supporting him. Very simple. Very, very simple. The 82% stat was for the debate in Pennsylvania, Mehmet Oz versus John Fetterman. And it was really sad to see, just like it is sad to see every day that we have a president who is deteriorating in office every single day. We don't just call him sleepy. We even look at him and say, man, he's not playing with a full deck. It's clear that our lion eyes can see that Joseph Robinette Biden is just not there. He's gone. And the midterms is just going to be a reckoning for him where he's probably going to step down or say he's not going to run again. I think he's going to get a lot of pressure from the Democrat Party because it starts and ends with him, right? The buck and starts and ends with him. So at this point, he's going to have to figure it out. He's telling people, yeah, I'm going to run to instill that confidence in the voters. But when they don't win, guess what? The DNC is going to put pressure that Joseph Robinette Biden has to step down or say publicly that you're not going to run again. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Democrats will chew off their own arm to spite their leg. If Biden doesn't do it, they will bury him and his son. They have that leverage on him. So it's either, hey, you step down or say you're not going to run again. We'll take care of you, give you a glamorous outgoing. We'll celebrate your life. We'll protect you. You're patented. But if you do not say these things, guess what's going to happen? You're going down with your son. You're going down with your son. And if you think you have your friends there still, guess what? They've already turned their back on you. Politics is a dirty game. It's a dirty business. So much so that people are willing to have guys like John Fetterman make a complete fool of himself, which is not his fault. I agree with Chris Cuomo. Of rare things I agree with Chris Cuomo on is that it's not his fault that he had a stroke, but he's in bad shape and he shouldn't be up there. The mere fact that he's up there stroking out, no pun intended, on this debate stage with Mehmet Oz, who is not a career politician, John Fetterman is, with Mehmet Oz, who is a doctor, John Fetterman isn't. Mehmet Oz has a pulse on Pennsylvanians. John Fetterman doesn't. It's very clear and distinct here, folks. 82% of people who entered into a poll voted in Pittsburgh that Mehmet Oz shellacked John Fetterman, but it doesn't say much, honestly. That doesn't say much. John Fetterman shouldn't be on the same stage with Mehmet Oz. It's the clear favorite here to win, and that's Mr. Oz.
Mr. Oz, I do want to clarify something. You're saying tonight that you support fracking, that you've always supported fracking, but there is that 2018 interview that you said, quote, I don't support fracking at all. So how do you square the two?
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I do support fracking.
Okay.
He's lost, ladies and gentlemen. And this is how bad it is. And this is what happens when you dog whistle and make these weird claims of extremism, calling the other party a threat to democracy. Hillary Clinton literally already went on the record just the other day saying that the Republicans are already trying to steal the election. I thought we weren't talking about stuff like that. I thought we weren't even talking about the fear of that. I thought that was fear-mongering tactics by the right. I thought that was a threat to democracy. Why is it okay for Hillary Clinton time and time again to do this while you have other people on the right saying, hey, no, it's you guys. But one side gets picked as the worst than the other? And then y'all wonder why people don't want to get involved in politics? It sounds like the same back and forth. It's a vicious cycle. But you know what? I want to vote for candidates that are going to do something about this, not complain about it, like the Stacey Abrams, Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom, Alexia Ocasio-Cortez, or Ilhan Omar, or Rashida Tlaib. These complainers, these whiners. Instead, we need strong leaders who are going to lead strong. J.D. Vance, Tudor Dixon in Michigan. We have Ron DeSantis in Florida. Hey, we can simply say that he is too strong. His foot is on the gas too hard. But you know what? I'd rather have a certain stern, clear, directional leader than someone who is just appealing for votes in Charlie Crist. We have Gavin Newsom, who is who's probably the most finest, cleanest, has the freshest pressed suit next to Mayor Eric Adams himself because he gets it done by the French Laundry in California, is sitting pretty and beautiful in the fine state of California, while Californians who have lived there all their lives simply are saying and throwing their arms up in the air and saying, I can't live here anymore. I gotta go. This place is virtually unlivable. How did you pass up on a candidate like Larry Elder? Yeah, he's not as polished as Joe Pinion, but he's been in the game and he's been in the fight a long time. And that's why, folks, when you make these clear distinctions and you see it for what it is, and you can make it and you can say it very clearly, people will start to realize where they stand. Do you stand for killing babies one leg out of the womb? Is two legs out of the womb? Is that what you're okay with? No, I'm not okay with that. But that's a private right. Is it a private right to murder people? That baby is a person. Now, you may not think of it as far as a pro-lifer who thinks that that's a person at conception. That could be an argument that we could have endlessly on a debate stage, on TikTok, wherever, et cetera, et cetera. However, as a country, we need to come to a consensus together. Is it 15? Is it 10 weeks? Are we going back to the safe, legal, and rare policy? What do we want to do? We're aborting more babies than giving birth to them. At some point, we're having blips of that. Overall, we're not, but we're having blips at times on months of the year during the fiscal year where we're aborting more babies than giving birth to them. This used to be seen as a phenomenon, as a joy, as an opportunity to change the course of your future legacy by passing down instilled values to your kids. And now it's seen as a burden of a financial crisis. The lack of resources and opportunity that leads us to the systemic, historical, economic disadvantages rooted in racism and white supremacy that we cannot seem to shake ourselves out of, folks. I mean, this is pretty sad stuff. We need leaders that are going to lead us out and be excited about our future and be excited and be led with vigor and courageousness. Be certain and confident, not people who are just constantly thinking about the past, sitting and reminiscing and adding details so long as it fits the narrative. Slavery is long gone and dead and buried, and we can make the argument that sex trafficking can be seen as that. But the slavery they're talking about is not the slavery that you see today. We need to move on, move the needle forward, be and encourage the Progressive Party to be progressive, not delusional. Looking at people like Dylan Mulvaney should be looked at with care and empathy and hope, not somebody who says, "Yes, girl, get it, queen, get it." Because the truth remains, just as the Southern College of Maine professor is cited for saying that there are only two biological genders. And now the media and the kids are uproaring in Maine right now, citing that this professor should be removed from this college. There's one thing to have the conversation as they did, the Angela Davis and company had the conversations about race on campus. Had the Black Student Union emerged? Sure. Had the Civil Rights Movement component discussed and argued over in the tables? Sure. But we are not allowed as students to overcome the teacher. Discord should be had, not protests to be removed. What happened to schools where we can do that? Oh, I forgot. If you question anything, you're either seen as a racist or peddling or tap dancing for white supremacists or a transphobe or a xenophobe. Rather than call me all types of belligerent names, why don't we push the needle forward and actually have the conversation? Have the conversation. Do we need to build a bridge here or break one down? It's okay, because this bridge may lead me here to cut through this traffic, but hey, I can go the long way. Because either way, as Americans, we've learned to survive. While we were living in the trenches, through discrimination, through the times of low economic opportunities, we will survive, we will overcome. 14 days until the midterm elections, this is a referendum on the Democrat Party. They have told us for 5 to 6 years that they had the answers, they had the solutions, and it turns out you don't have the answers, Sway. They don't have the answers. With inflation numbers at a record high, yeah, we could attribute it to the pandemic. But enough's enough. Sleepy Joe, Degenerate Joe, empty-headed Joe has simply said the pandemic is over. Where's the ingenuity? Where's the opportunity? Why are there shipping yards still waiting offshore to put their deliveries in, to get their deliveries on shore? We need to get back to business as usual. We need to talk about pipelines. We need to talk about reestablishing the security and safety and sanctity of citizenship and our border. We need a physical wall. We need a symbolic one as well. A home is worth guarding. And if it ain't worth guarding, it ain't worth living in. So most Americans want to feel like this is a place worth living in, worth escaping to, whatever the case may be. A lot of migrants, immigrants, illegals, however you determine or want to define them, want to come to this country for a reason. It's called opportunity. But when they come here and they hear fellow Americans, or soon to be fellow Americans because they're not citizen yet, when they hear the rhetoric of we don't have equal opportunity, and they simply turn around to them and say, get this money. I'm sure you guys heard that phrase. Let me give you guys a kind of example. When Meek Mills, the rapper Meek Mills from Philadelphia, was having issues with the game because of some weird, stupid nonsense that went down in Los Angeles at a nightclub somewhere, Rick Ross came up to Meek Mills, who signed him, he's been signed to Maybach Music for a long time already. What he really told him was, Rick Ross said this publicly. He says, stop worrying about things that are not going to make you money. Just like Joe Pinion said, the things we value in this country is power and wealth. And if we're focusing on the things that are not going to give us that, then why are we focusing on it in the first place? Focusing on reparations or transgender affirming care or all those things, is it going to bring us wealth and power? I'm saying they got their wealth, they got their power, but most of us are disgruntled and they're feeding off of it. So I say this, find a trade, find a skill that someone else needs and that we're willing to pay you a fair share, a fair trade for. Provide that resource, be a resource, finish that training, go to the end of it, find a life partner, have a child, and do it all over again in the next generation. I leave you with that this hump day. We'll be right back here on the Morning Fix live radio show at 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll be right back here tomorrow. Don't miss it, folks. It's been a pleasure. See you.